Good evening and welcome to the SMRC eSports Autumn Cup with Duncan, Vincent and none other than Andy Alston in our virtual commentary boxes. It's Wednesday night, it's 8 o'clock and it's time to go racing in a series presented by Sim Broadcast, brought to you by the SMRC and powered by Reese Motorsport Insurance. Tonight is round 3 and we are at the Hungaroring. The famous circuit opened in 1986 for its first ever Formula 1 Grand Prix. And it was the first ever circuit behind the Iron Curtain back in the day, a long time ago now. A circuit which has seen a couple of facelifts over the years, but generally the circuit layout has remained pretty much intact and the same. We've been to the Red Bull Ring, we've been to Imola, we are now at the Hungaroring. Andy Alston, it's a circuit I know you enjoy, you're looking forward to this, and yeah, have you any thoughts ahead of tonight?
Yeah, this is going to be a good one. Hungaroring, a brand new circuit to iRacing, only released a couple of weeks ago with the most recent Season 4 update. So, new track for all the drivers in the sense that it's going to have lots of little kind of quirks to it for the iRacing platform. Lots of instances where perhaps drivers will just be trying to feel where the limit is. Potentially risk getting off tracks and then having to slow down and everything like that as well. So I think this is going to be a really, really interesting 3 races here tonight. Imola last time out, of course, was very good as well, and that man top of the championship standings at the moment was very, very impressive, and all eyes will be on him to see if Fraser Williamson can do another clean sweep here tonight.
He gave us his usual pre-event talk. You know, it's not going to be very good. It's not a circuit I know, Imola, and look what happened there. Yeah, he was the man. He's also been doing that ahead of this one. So the SRC Movano Corsa boy, he's the man just now, isn't it? Overall standings topped by Fraser 851. He is very much in charge of the overall. Now, when we say overall, that's putting together all of the championships we have had running. This is the Autumn Cup. Fraser won the Spring Cup effectively. He's winning the Summer Cup and he's looking like he's going to be the man of the year of the SMRC eSports tournament. Let's see how he gets on though. The pressure will now be starting to mount because he's in range of getting that championship sewn up, as we say. As ever, Andy, yep, the weather conditions look pretty good. As you can see, cars on track just now at the Hungaroring, and this is qualifying underway. It's a circuit which I do like as well. Andy, you said in our pre-race banter when we were in our green room, as we would like to call it, it's a circuit you enjoy. It's a circuit I've always liked as well, and it goes all the way back to Formula 1 1997 for me, is how far back I go. But what's the special bits of the circuit that you like, Andy?
I have to say, Turn 1 obviously is the scene of lots of drama. I think the first sector in particular is really nice, really fast-flowing. I would expect lots of drivers trying to get a cut back into Turn 2 if they maybe have to surrender the position going down the start-finish straight. But I really like the chicane sections, Turns 6 and 7, the sharp left and then and the right. That's really, really technical. As we're just coming on to here at the moment. You can take a little bit of curb and then some on the inside as well. So it'll be interesting to see what lines we'll see from the drivers as they make their way around this round the lap. But yeah, I think it's a track that really does allow for lots of opportunities for drivers to try and make moves.
Yeah, it does that. And there we look at the actual standings for the Autumn Cup. Again, Fraser Williamson, Josh Heslop and Kieran Smart at the top of the tree with that one. Jack Hare in 4th place. Cameron Evans is 5th. And Kyle Power is in 6th place. And we have an onboard lap of the Hungaroring with Kyle Power. So there's a pretty good link in there, actually. Is that tedious or tenuous? I'm not too sure, Andy, but it'd be good to get on board with Kyle Power so we can see just exactly what it's like as we come down the main straight towards Turn 1. This was the re-profiled area which happened a good few years ago now. This used to be a difficult corner to overtake and it's now more open to overtaking. It used to be a faster entrance here as you turn into turn number 1. He gets the car hooked up through the apex and then, well, on the lap chart I'll tell you this is Turn 2. It's almost a bit of a non-event as they come down towards Turn 3. You can run round the outside of people here. It's a difficult corner. It's off camber. It drops away from you all the way through. And it's important not to run wide on the exit because you come back for Turn 4, past the little make-be chicane on the inside there, before it's all taking the big brave pills before you climb up towards Turn 5. Oh, kink to the right, then 6, you go through over the top there, and it's an extremely fast corner. You then come into a difficult corner again here, very polar opposite to Turn 3. It's the same type of thing, it's a long corner, but it goes uphill before you come into the first chicane. A lot of curb on the way in, a lot of curb through it, and a bit of curb on the way out, but not too much curb. Then these are classed as chicanes here. As you come through the left, you come in towards the right, And the speed's building all the way through here as you come up towards the last couple. This is 11 into 12 and into 13. Big, brave corners through here. Kyle Power on the money, looking very, very neat and tidy before you come into a downhill braking zone into turn 14. Another of the newly reprofiled sections on this Hungaroring track. Before you come up towards the last bit, it tightens you. The whole track becomes narrow as you come through turn 15. The pit entrance is exiting 15 on your right-hand side. And then it's a big, long right-hander. You can carry quite a bit of speed through and out of it, but don't get the curb on the inside. It will pitch the car off wide. It'll make it a very difficult run down the main street. But Andy Alston, that was a very, very neat lap from Kyle Power there.
Yeah, it certainly was. And the one thing I did notice with his lines was the fact that he's taken a late apex into a number of the corners as well. And that's just allowing him to carry as much speed as he can on exit. The great thing about this Hungaroring circuit is one corner just flows into the other very, very nicely. So if a driver has had to surrender a position, there is that opportunity that he can get back as early as the next corner. And I think with these Formula Renault cars as well, they're very, very nippy, they're very lively, as we saw last time out at Imola. And I think that means we're going to be in for some really entertaining racing once more here in the Autumn Cup.
Nippy and lively. Yeah, I agree with that, Andy. It was all about curbs at Imola, and the cars seem to deal with the curbs better than the drivers seem to deal with the curbs. So let's see how they get on here. The chicanes at the Hungaroring, you've just seen the first one there. It's quite a slow one, but then these are classed as chicanes. These are very fast flowing corners, and the speed intensifies and builds all the way through them. We're looking at Josh Heslop just now, fresh from a fabulous weekend at Superlap Scotland in Knockhill, and a former SMRC racer as well. This young kid knows how to drive in real life, but also he's been very quick here, Andy, in the pre-event practices.
Yeah, he has. Josh has been very, very quick throughout the season indeed. A driver who has had a number of trips to the podium as well and did very well in this Autumn Cup. I mean, he's had 4 second place results to his name so far, and certainly going to be one to watch. And that's a very impressive time on the board here in qualifying as well, with a 1:42.5. So he's got a little bit of breathing space as well over the likes of Danny Henney, Fraser Williamson. Williamson's gone very, very close there. It must be said, not even a tenth of a second, splitting pole position at the moment. But yeah, that's a very, very impressive time from Josh Heslop.
Fraser Williamson, I'm not going to go very quick around the Hungaroring. That's it's already reared its head there, and he's put down a pretty intentful lap there by Fraser. Yeah, 600ths of a second off the fastest lap. And this qualifying session is almost at an end. It's a 10-minute session. If it gets to 10 minutes and you haven't completed your lap, that's it. It's tough for you. As we saw with Fraser Williamson at the Red Bull Ring, he scraped his lap with, I think, 2 seconds, Andy, if I'm not mistaken. And he just managed to get that lap done, and it put him right at the top of the chart. So Kyle Power coming through here. He's got some 30 seconds to get through the last couple of corners before he gets up towards that checker flag. Currently, Kyle sits in 4th place, half a second off. He's beside Danny Henney and Adam Brown. He crosses the line. Isn't improvement for Kyle? No, it's not as he crosses the line. Well, he improves in time, but not in position. Michael Weddle crosses in 8th place. And we give him a hard time, but he's a good friend. But Flymo hasn't had, Andy, the best of cups so far in the Formula Renault.
No, Imola unfortunately didn't go to plan at race 1, where he just couldn't get the car away cleanly. And as we've seen time and time again throughout this season, if race 1 doesn't go to plan, you're really on the back foot for the remainder of the event. So let's see how Michael gets on at the first round here tonight.
Josh Heslop will be on pole position from Fraser Williamson, with Danny Henney and Kyle Power on the second row of the grid. The third row of the grid's Adam Brown with Jack Eyre and Dale Smith and Michael Weddle. As we look further down the grid behind them, who have we got out of place that we would expect to be a bit further up? I tell you, John Higgins with a good qualifying session there, but I'm also looking at the live timing screen which Andy Allison shared with me, and I'm looking for a few names. Ryan Smith had a fabulous Imola. He's qualified 14th here, Andy. What do you think of Ryan Smith's progress in the Cup that we've seen? Because he is a real-life racer, but what do you think of his progress so far?
Yeah, Ryan Smith competing in our Scottish C1 Cup. I thought he was very, very impressive last time out in Imola, and a deserved driver of the day as well. So 14th on the grid, he's a driver with pace, and we know he can make moves, so definitely want to keep an eye on here.
Andy Alston, as ever, brings up the driver of the day, the Reese Motorsport Insurance driver of the day. Have your say on the driver of the day, and you can do that in the comments box. That was pretty good, Andy. That was a slick link from us there, and there is a reminder on screen. So We are ready for the start. We have got a countdown at the side there, a count up, I should say. All cars appear to be on the grid for the Hungaroring for the SMRC eSports, brought to you by Sim Broadcast and Reese Motorsport Insurance. Cars glistening under the sunshine on our screens. It's Josh Heslop on pole in car 23, the car with the white sides, the black nose and the green flashes. And he's up against the Movano Sims racer, Fraser Williamson, number 369, who has been the man of not just this cup, but previous cups as well. He's looking for the overall title. It's a little bit far out of his reach yet, but who knows what will happen. Tension mounts in the commentary boxes. Tension mounts in the grid for these drivers as well. It can be classed as a difficult circuit to overtake on, but how will these guys fare in the Formula Renault 2.0? We await the lights to come on. Here we go. We have a full complement of lights now. Who gets a good start? Who doesn't? And away they go. A few wheel spins for certain people. Josh Heslop doesn't get the greatest of starts, and it looks like Fraser Williamson is going to take that down there. Danny Henny moves into second place. A 3 wide. Henny on the outside. Williamson on the inside. The meat in the sandwich. It's Heslop who's going to come through turn 1 in the lead. It's that man Fraser Williamson, but he has a little bit of oversteer mid-corner there. And that lets Danny Henny get round the outside of him as they go through turn 2, down towards a tricky turn 3 where the car drops away mid-corner. Williamson will try and fight her on the outside here, so he's back on the inside for 4, but Henny is in the inside. Williamson with a huge corrective slide mid-corner there, but manages to gather it all up, and Andy, everybody away cleanly-ish at the start.
Yeah, a couple of drivers are just having a bit of a nibble coming out the corner there. But Jack Eyre, I have to say, got a very, very clean start there as well. Up one position on his Rethink Racing teammate, Adam Brown. Josh Heslop is not quite going to plan for him, though, down to 4th place already. So let's see if he can perhaps make up a couple of places as we make their way around the chicane for the first time of asking. Looks like everybody's managed to get themselves through there cleanly as well. Of course, remember, the car's not quite up to temperature. Tyres aren't quite up to temperature. In a tricky track like this, it's just keep the car nice and steady on the first lap and then build from that.
Rob McGregor out of the race very early on. He is gone. He is not going to take any further part in this one. One of the MSR drivers, teammate to John Higgins Jr. and Aidan Wilson, who isn't in the cup just now. But yeah, Josh Heslop behind Kyle Power and just ahead of Jack Eyre. There's a big hole in the middle of the grid there. That's Dale Smith who goes through. Gaz Brown behind him. So I think Rob McGregor was round about that position. But at the front, it's Danny Henny pulling away. The man who didn't make Imola, unfortunately, wasn't there, but we had his onboard lap. And if you remember, Andy, it was a pretty sensational lap that he gave us for our introduction at the race event. He does a 47.3 on his first flying lap. Fraser Williamson in second place, 48.1. We'll let things kind of settle down for a couple laps as Heslop slides back up the inside of Kyle Power into turn 1, makes that manoeuvre stick, and that's a good one. Adam Brown there getting a little bit keen. Goes past Jack Eyre, Andy, but Jack then repays the favour on the exit of 1 into 2.
Yep, and that's it. It's the beauty of this circuit. You think you've got the job done, and that's not the case at all. You're in for a surprise on exit or even following corner. Keenan Smart here having a good scrap there as well for 8th place at the moment. Michael Weddle's just managing to close the door on that occasion, but now, of course, is vulnerable coming up the straight and into this really tricky left-hander. You've got to be brave on the brakes here and get the car hooked in nicely. Looks like Michael's taking a little bit more curb on exit, but again, just managing to fend off the threat from Kieran Smart and that train of cars behind them.
Yeah, a train of cars exactly. Looking up the inside there is Kieran Smart. Oh, that looked like it was intending, or just almost contact there, just going in there, just out of shot. And yeah, it was. That was Ronald Grossman who lost the front wing on that car as well. Just as the camera angle changed there, we could see that happening in the background, Andy. Whether the guys back at base can get a replay of that one as we pick back up with the front guys. It's Henny, Williamson and Heslop. Heslop is starting to make inroads to the back of Fraser Williamson. Kyle Power still in 4th place, just ahead of Rethink Racing Jack Eyre in 5th, with Adam Brown, his teammate, and his other teammate Michael Weddle 6th and 7th just now as they come up towards the end of lap number 2. We'll start lap number 3 this time round. There's the man who gave us our onboard lap, the very bright green car of Kyle Power. Do like that car. There's an awful lot of cars which kind of look the same in this. And one thing we won't get mistaken with, Andy, Danny Henny's car and Kyle Power's car jump out at you on the screen.
Yes, absolutely. Danny's been very impressive, I have to say. The first 3 laps, he's been firm but fair, I would say. He just managed to get the move and just keep that car out of trouble. Gap of 1 second between him and Fraser Williamson. So Fraser's got his work cut out here if he wants to get on the top step of the podium here tonight. And a couple of other drivers just worth giving a shout out on. We mentioned Ryan Smith on the opener, and there's just been a little bit, and just one car's just slightly gone off there, managed to keep his way out of trouble, thankfully. But I just wanted to give a wee shout out to Ryan Smith, who we mentioned on the opener, started in 14th, already up into 10th place after 3 laps. So a driver really making progress here is car number 94.
Car without a rear wing just going through shot there, just ahead of Ryan Smith. That's John Higgins Jr. How he's managing to drive that car around here with no rear wing, one will never know. Is that some sort of computer glitch? But Junior very much found a perfect setup on this car where he's going to remove the rear wing and have a little bit flighty at the back. Let's see how John Higgins gets on here, whether that's maybe just a little bit of a glitch. But we're scratching our heads in the commentary box. His dad will be thinking, well, this is something we've never tried before in the setup for testing. But John Higgins Jr. hanging on to the Formula Renault 2.0 with no rear wing just now. But we'll see exactly what happens. I didn't see any contact, or maybe he was the guy that Ronald Grossman drove into. So that maybe makes sense. He looks like he's possibly struggling a little bit here. Junior currently in 9th place. He's had flashes of brilliance in all the cups, but he's just always had a little bit of bad luck. And the bad luck has obviously reared its ugly head here again at the Hungaroring for him as we come on to lap number 4. Out of the last corner, Henny crosses the line with a 42.8, 42.6 now for Fraser Williamson. Fraser starting to up the pace, 43.1 for Josh Heslop. And Kyle Power does a 43.2, so it looks like Fraser, he always talks himself down, Andy, and we always kind of expect it now because we know he's going to come out the blocks swinging like a boxer.
Yeah, an interesting thing for Fraser is, does he really want to go toe-to-toe with Danny here, particularly in race number 1, or is he just going to be quite happy to just sit back, collect the points, and again play that long game for the overall standings? Because we're at that crucial end of the season now where if Fraser risks a problem, has a disastrous event, as we've had further drama further behind, and it is Fraser Williamson. We've just mentioned about coming into drama, and Fraser Williamson has gone off. Absolutely incredible scenes down into 6th place. Let's get the replay here. Takes a little bit of curb on exit, and then look at that, he just pulls the car back over. Just further round here, I think.
It's further round the lap. It's up towards turn 6 where he actually goes off. So this is Fraser coming into turn 3, if I'm not mistaken, Andy.
So let's see how things unfold here. He's got a little bit of a gap from him and Danny Henny. Brings the car round. In fact, I think we'll just go back to that in a moment because I'm interested just to get a really good in-depth look at that. But we mentioned a bit about... in fact, here it is. Here's the replay here. Takes a little bit too much curb on the exit, and then the car just pivots into the barrier. Not a lot he can do with her. Thankfully, managing to avoid further contact. But again, this is going to seriously compromise his entire event. The car's damaged. He's a sitting duck there for the rest of the field. It's about getting to the end and see the checkered flag. In fact, he's pitting. He's going to pit, which is going to cost him even more time, more positions. And Fraser Williamson seriously has his work cut out now.
I've got to say, I didn't see Fraser doing anything wrong there, to tell you the truth. He didn't look like he did anything worse than he's done in any of the other laps. Just onto the curb, but the car's obviously decided it's going to swap ends. It's pushed him back into the barrier, and rightfully, as you say, Andy, front end damage around here. This is a track where you must have the car perfect on the front end. Clearly, the back end doesn't matter, as John Higgins Jr. still showing us in 8th place. But if you do not have a front wing, you're going to understeer your way to the moon, that's for sure. So Fraser makes an unusual, uncharacteristic error as he goes into the extremely fast corner of turn 6, where we're coming up to just now. And yeah, I didn't see him take too much apex. I didn't see him take too much exit care, but the car just spun round and put him back into that barrier. We're looking at Jack Eyre now. Jack trying to get up the inside of his teammate Adam Brown, and he has successfully done that as they come side by side up towards the tight chicane now. Eyre backs out of that one because Adam Brown, possibly in the faster line where he could cut across and get into the corner before Jack. And that was not what teammates want to be doing, not want to be coming together. Henny still leads from Josh Heslop now. Kyle Power in 3rd place, Adam Brown in 4th place with Jack Eyre in 5th place, running out the top 5. Michael Weddle, some 7 seconds off the leader just now, in 6th place, and just starting to, Andy, fall off the back of his 2 teammates, Brown and Eyre.
Yeah, potential just out of the toe now is Michael. So, again, I think he'll be happy enough with that, to be honest with you, in the 6th place. He's a driver that will just be keen to, again, he likes to bide his time, as we've seen throughout the season. He's not one for making moves early in races. He likes to try and just take his time, pick drivers off towards the end of races. John Higgins Jr., I have to say here, he'll be having no problems at all going down the straight. Plenty of pace, that's for sure.
He's like a DRS.
Credit to him, man. That's fantastic stuff. Let's see how he gets on here going into turn 1. This will be interesting. Kieran Smart ahead of him. He will be in the tow here at this point. Will the car get really unsettled under braking? In fact, look at that, fair play. Cam as you like, in it goes. So there's something going on here.
But I got a message, Andy. I got a message from Base. His race engineer said he got drilled from behind going into the chicane. So it must have been Grossman that hit him. But he's done a 44 flat on the last lap round with no rear wing, which is pretty sad. Or sorry, 44.8. He was 44 flat. And Danny Heady done a 43.3. So John Higgins Jr. has got that thing working perfectly. Or something, is in the mix. But hey, he's got to deal with what he's got as Danny Heney now comes up and puts a lap on. Who is that? That will be... Is that Adam Kindness, if I'm not mistaken? Or is that John Proctor? Either way, we can come back with that one now. Ronald Grossman has got down to 16th place after, I think he would have been in the pits for a new wing. And getting some repairs done to that car. But it's still... The mind does boggle with John Higgins Jr., how he's managing to do that. But never mind. Lap 6, 10 minutes into this race, 5 minutes of the race remain. We are at the Hungaroring. This is round 3 of the SMRC Autumn Cup, brought to you by Sim Broadcast, live stream partner for your live racing event. And obviously, Reese, driver of the day, Reese Motorsport Insurance driver of the day. Have your say on our driver of the day. Last time out, Andy Alston, if we're not mistaken, Ryan Smith got that. But this time, we're looking for a little bit of help. Myself and Andy obviously talk about it quite a lot. But Andy, who's jumping out so far?
There's a couple of drivers, I think, certainly worth giving a shout out to. Cameron Ritchie started in 17th up to 12th. Very good start for Cameron. Kept the car out of trouble and just making his way up the field nicely. Also looks like an old footwork Formula 1 car there, that livery, doesn't it? That just kind of caught my eye. They're very, very nice. Quite subtle there down the sides as well. Very good. Anyway, enough about car liveries. Other drivers that have caught our eye. I think John Higgins has done quite well as well. Also started and lived up into 8th. Owen Ross, he's another one actually worth giving a shout out to. 24th place. He started right at the back of the pack. Kept that car out of trouble, making serious progress. So another one to keep an eye out on throughout this event. Meanwhile, Kyle Power, just further back, there's been a bit of a spin. Is that a back marker? I think it's John Proctor. On his further contact, in fact. That's John Higgins, who already lost his rear wing. He's now lost his front wing for good measure, and he's out, unfortunately, having a good race up until that point as well. So back at the front though, Danny Heney, 1.9 seconds the gap between him and Josh Heslop at the front.
Groans from the commentary boxes. John Higgins Jr. Removes another part of his car. Let's see how that helps him for the remainder of the race now. Might be even quicker. Unfortunately, we'll be back in the pits and we'll get Junior out in the next race. That seems to be the trouble corner. Turn 6. It is a fast approach up the hill towards it, and there's not a huge break in towards there. You're kind of looking for the car to rely on A, the downforce, and B, the mechanical grip. And if you don't have half of that, it's going to be a tricky corner to get through. But John Proctor dropped it, and then Junior obviously has crashed and collected Proctor. As we go on board with Kieran Smart, a lot of Valentino Rossi yellow about this car, which I'm a bit of a fan of as well. And I'm happy, Andy, for you to talk about liveries. I like the footwork livery. Footwork was one of my favourite Formula 1 cars from back in the day. And also, we've got to remember in this race, we've got David Bolton, who has got the Fernando Alonso replica Renault paint job. As Smart closes in on Weddle going in towards turn 1, Flymo. Well, there's not a lot of grass around this circuit, so Michael Weddle's probably a little bit lonely, and he'll be looking for some of the green stuff towards the end of the race as the sparks come out the back of Weddle's Rethink Racing Formula Renault. And he's under big pressure here. The pressure, he's got to keep this pressure up for another 3 minutes, Andy, or 2 minutes after this. Weddle is a big ask because Kieran Smart is very much on the move. But at the front, it's that man in the red car, the very bright red car. It's Danny Heney who leads the way from Josh Heslop. And he has, 8 seconds gap? Am I looking at the timing screen and seeing that correct, Andy?
Danny Heney, 1.8 seconds between him and Josh Heslop. Kyle Power is a little bit further down the road. Josh Heslop, again, has had a decent drive here, it must be said. Kyle Power, again, kept the car out of trouble. So the front 5 or 6 or so have had a decent opener here, it must be said. I can't see too much changing either. We'll probably get an extra lap in after this. This will probably be the penultimate lap. As 4th place man Adam Brown just has a little bit of a moment there on exit further back. That's also
Kieran Smart.
I think it's Kieran Smart. Yeah. So we'll have to get a replay and just see what happened there as they make their way around the last couple of corners. So Kieran Smart here in the Rossi-inspired livery We'll follow him round here. Again, just losing the car on entry. The
Kerb
back end
on the
steps
way
out,
in.
and there's not a lot you can do from that, but credit to him for keeping the car out the tyre vault and keeping it facing the right way. So he'll have warm tyres, but that's about it. So thankfully, comes through that one unscathed.
Yeah, it looks like that's an angled kerb on the way in there on the left-hand side, and he rode the car up it, which is going to take away the downforce because there's going to be a fairly difference in how the car sits. And that will lose a lot of downforce. He turns in and the car just snaps away at the back as we pick up with Fraser Williamson. Leader is on his last lap now. Fraser's down in 14th place. So well, it's not completely finished yet. Let's say that, because he has, remember, if he can get up to 8th place in race number 2, he gets the reverse grid. We'll see how that goes for race number 3. But just now we go on board with Mark Hearn, car number 91, in the asymmetric racing car. Did I say that properly? I think I did. I'm reading that on the screen. I like that. John Higgins' was very much not asymmetric after it came through this next corner. It was very much unparalleled as well. But we'll pick up with Junior later on. Just now, though, but 14 minutes. We're almost 15 minutes up. Danny Henny will just be trying to stroke this round until he comes over the line and takes the checkered flag just now, as we are still riding on board with Mark Hearn. Hearn going through the chicane, through the right, through the left part of it, and towards the second set of chicanes, the S's now, as he goes through. A good run this from Mark Hearn, as we go back towards the front, because the 15-minute timer has now elapsed, and this is a man who's heading towards a checker flag. We didn't have him with Imola. He wasn't there. He was doing other things, but he has come back with a bang. He has hit the front from lap number 1, and look at this drive from Danny Henny as he comes through the last corner in the red number 93. The checker flag's made ready. He's chased home by Josh Heslop, but Heslop 1.2 seconds in the rears. Can't do anything for Danny Henny. Race number 1 goes the way of Danny Henny. Josh Heslop comes home in second place. Kyle Power comes home in third, with Jack Eyre a fabulous fourth, and Adam Brown rounds out the top 5. I think that's a sensational drive for both Eyre and Brown.
Yeah, very much so. Both guys, and Jack Eyre and Adam Brown had that right good scrap, and there was a potential moment into that first chicane, but good sensible driving from the pair of them. And good points haul for both in the championship as well. Fraser Williamson recovering into 14th place, so certainly got his work cut out for race number 2. But as you say, Duncan, if he can crucially get that 8th place spot, then it's very much all to play for in the finale. So yeah, it'll be interesting to get Fraser's thoughts on this one at the end of this event, I have to say.
That's the first mistake, Andy, I've seen him make.
Just about to say that there. He's a very, very clean driver, and he's not one that normally has an incident or whatever, and I suspect it's just the fact that Hungaroring is brand new to iRacing. Drivers, of course, will get plenty of seat time in ahead of it, but there's nothing like when you're in that race environment, and things are just to feel a little bit different, and unfortunately Fraser's been the victim of that.
So there we go. Hungaroring race number 1 goes the way of Danny Henny. Race number 2, there is no gap between race number 1 and 2. There is a gap between race 2 and 3, and we will take a small commercial break. But remember, this is the SMRC eSports Autumn Cup. The grid is how they just finished. It's brought to you by Sim Broadcast, live stream partner for your next sim racing event. And remember, have your say in the Reese Motorsport Insurance Driver of the Day. Let us know. Myself and Andy, well, we will talk about it a little bit. I've got to say, if John Higgins had finished that race, I'd have put him up there for one of the drivers of the day, even though still without a rear wing. He's been put in a chat there that the thing was undrivable, so that's ultimately how he dropped it. But that drive by Danny Henny, I was so impressed with that. That was calculated at the front, with Josh Heslop trying to hunt him down, who has been very fast. Josh, though, well, he was on pole, so he's going to be ruining the fact that he didn't win from pole there. Everybody wants the whole shot into turn 1, and in a Formula Renault, the start is so critically important. Let's see if Heslop can repay the favour to Danny Henny in race number 2, as we await for the lights to come on here at the Hungaroring. Duncan, Vincent and Andy Alston in our virtual commentary boxes for the SMRC tonight with Sim Broadcast, bringing you all the action. Here we go. Lights starting to come on now. Count them up. 4, 5. Watch for the cars launching. It's a good start from Heslop. There's no wheel spin that time, and away they go. He looks like he's matching Henny down towards turn 1, or am I wrong? Is he under stress from Power? Yes, he is. And Jack Eyre as they come down there. Danny Henny with a great start there. Heslop will take second place. Kyle Power round the outside. Somebody's the wrong way. Ryan Smith goes round. Fraser Williamson in 9th place. Was there contact with Fraser Williamson there? Or has somebody else off in the background upside down, if I'm not mistaken? There's somebody facing the wrong way. Yep, car upside down the middle of the track. That's Ronald. Is that Ronald Grossman again there? Oh dear, it's not been a good day for our man from iRacing, has it? Andy Alston through turn 6, though. It's this man again at the front, Danny Henney, as he comes in towards the middle part of the lap.
Yeah, that looks like a gap of over half a second, I reckon, between him and Josh Heslop. So it's been a good couple of corners from Danny Henney. Another good start, I have to say, for Jack Hare. Got that car away cleanly, and he's been up into third place with a very late move, but he's had to take the escape road, and at Dodge Road Sausage comes on exit, so he's going tumbling down the order now, and it looks like he's just pulling that car out by potentially a slow down penalty, I wonder. But Jack Hare has got it all to do now. Meanwhile, Fraser Williamson up 6 places from where he started. He's on the outside here. And he's tagged, I think there's been contact with Jack Hare. He's tagged the rear wheel of Jack Hare. Jack Hare goes spinning off, avoiding the barriers, but it's gone from bad to worse for Jack Hare despite such a promising start. And he's now got it all to do.
I'm going to say net code on that one, chaps. From where I was watching, I don't know if I can get a replay on that. It didn't look like there was contact, and Jack's car just seemed to jump. It's a strange one, that. Now, this is coming from a guy who knows absolutely nothing about net codes, but somebody mentioned it 2 races ago, so I've picked up on that. You know, it says one of these new words in my vocabulary. As Danny Henney leads over the line, 47.1 his first lap, 47.7 for Joshua Hislop, Kyle Power, Adam Brown, everybody else et al. Streaking through. Michael Weddle, car number 7, I like that number of a race car, in 7th place just now for Flymo as he goes through. But Fraser Williamson, I was just actually thinking there when he was in the middle of that pack there, Andy Alston, this is where the pressure starts to work and it starts to build, because he's not had a good first race. He's in the middle of the pack. He doesn't want to make any other mistakes. And then Jack here jumps off the road with a possible net code right in front of him. That's it's not what Andy Alston's needing right. Not what Andy Alston. It's not what Fraser Williamson is needing right now. Andy Alston.
Well, it puts Fraser in a difficult position here. He could potentially have a little bit of contact, a little bit of damage as a result of the contact. Let's see. It will be interesting just to keep an eye on his lap times and see how he fares with things. But we haven't normally seen Fraser have to scrap this way. You know, I've not seen him in that position where he's got to make his way through the field and what have you. So it's a very different race for the Mervano Sim Racing driver. And let's see, he's got Mark Herring just ahead of him in the blue and white car. Can he perhaps make a little bit of a move here into once they come through the right-hander? He's got a good run on Heron as well, just backing off there. Car looked a little bit unsettled there midway through the corner, I have to say, and he's gone wide on exit as well. So I wonder if that front left does have a little bit of damage there potentially, and it's just unsettling him. And he's just sawing at the wheel a little bit there on entry 2. Gets the car up the inside, does make the move done, but again, it's just that car looks really unsettled to me, Duncan. I think there's something's either not right, or maybe Fraser's just not feeling it, and he's had a couple of just because he's had a couple of incidents so far tonight. But got to cut back on exit there, like so credit to him, and I think he's perhaps got enough of a run down the start finish lane. Of course, he's got the inside line into the corner, so can Mark Heron potentially get a cut back?
Yeah, Fraser it was a big lunge up the inside, and the thing looked like it had a huge amount of understeer mid-corner. But what I'm seeing him doing round the back end of the circuit is a head round, I think it's turn 12 or 13 towards 14. I'm seeing a lot of guys driving up the curb on the way into the corner. Now, Fraser's giving it a little wiggle left and right there, you see that? So maybe he is, Andy, feeling that something's not right, or he's wondering why, or maybe the tyres aren't up to temperature as of yet. We're on to lap 3, but I am seeing guys climbing a curb which has got an angle in it, and it does make the car quite unsettled as they go through that very fast corner. But no doubt we're going to see more things happen in this race, because this does look like a tricky circuit. As Adam Brown went for a huge lunge there and kind of backed out of that just at the last minute, and that was on Kyle Power, because Adam Brown can see a podium position just ahead of him as they go through the chicane where Jack Hare went airborne a lap or so ago, and that, if it was real life, it wouldn't be good for your back or your bum muscles as you land. But this next corner, this one as they come through here, the next curb on your left hand side here that's angled on the way up to it, and you can see them using that. It does upset the car on the way in, so a few of them might want to be trying to avoid that curb if they possibly can, Andy. But we're 5 minutes into the race. Will the tyres be warm by now, Andy? Is that how it works with the Formula Renault?
The Formula Renault seem to take a little bit longer than most cars on iRacing just to get the tyres up to temperature. I would have said by this point, coming into lap 3 and almost into lap 4, I would have thought the cars would be a bit more up to speed with things by this point. But again, that's part of the beauty of iRacing and your skill indeed as a driver is getting the maximum out the car from start to finish. The car's not going to be optimal. And if you can potentially make a few places when others are struggling to get the car up to full working order, then you're in a very strong position here. Kyle Power coming under a little bit of pressure from Adam Brown into turn 1. Adam Brown potentially looking for a cut back there. I don't think he's got enough legs in it to make that one stick, unfortunately. Just not managing to get the drive there. but look at this.
Yeah,
Danny
it's
Henry
catches,
coming
isn't
under
it?
a little bit of pressure from Josh Heslop here. Under half a second between the pair of them now. Josh Heslop very much in slipstream range, and I wonder if Josh could potentially make a move here.
Well, you can find him on Facebook, Joshua Heslop Motorsport, and we're on board with him just now. Great work from our broadcast guys back there. That will be Mo working all the buttons and all his magic, and Pete probably on a coffee just now, a coffee break, I'd imagine, as we come up towards the chicane. What can this young man do? He's the real deal. He really is. He seems to be able to drive absolutely anything. We've seen not the greatest of start from him, but right now he's putting huge pressure on the back of Danny Henny as they come through and up towards the last of the fast chicanes here. Miss the curb on the way in here, please, chaps. Just giving it a little bit of flirting danger there as they come over the crest hill down to turn 14. It's a downhill braking zone here, but Josh Heslop looks like he is a bit quicker over the lap than Danny Henny. He runs up the apex curb. They use a lot of exit curb as well. This is where we were on board with Fraser Williamson a couple of laps ago. He went thundering up the inside and then realised that the car just didn't want to turn and play ball. And what can he do here, Andy Allison? Can he get a good run, and can he make a manoeuvre and not compromise himself or Danny Henny at the end of the straight?
Yeah, he's certainly got a good run here on the exit, I have to say. He's very much in the slipstream range. And Henny looking to try and break the toe there a little bit, weaving the car down the straight, which is quite entitled to do. He does, as long as he doesn't leave in the braking zone, he's fine. Danny Henny's got that one covered, I suspect. Last time out, it was a 43.2 for Josh Heslop, and it was a 43.3 for Danny Henny. So Josh is just gradually chipping away at that lead. And I wonder if he's going to start to make a move. But we've got Adam Brown here just making a move on the outside there on a replay. Got that move done nice and early, in fact, into that corner. So a nice clean move from Adam Brown, and he's into third place in this race. All the meanwhile, look at that, Duncan. Fraser Williamson up into fourth place in this race.
Oh, I missed that. Well spotted, Andy Allison. That's why you get paid the big bucks in this commentary game. Oh, contact for the back. Is that Jack Eyre? Who was that? Jack Eyre, possibly. Michael Weddle, Flymo, goes across the grass into the wall, and he is out of the race. Now, that was contact with another car in the background there. Now, I don't know if we can get a replay of that one. It was a long camera shot, long lens, but if we can pick that one up, there was side-to-side contact. And watching the background here, Michael Weddle, car comes off track, and Michael just drives into the back of Mark Heron. That was Mark Heron. He just drove into the back of there, and, well, unfortunate for Michael Weddle. Massive damage to that car, but the show rolls on, and 0.4 of a second is the gap at the front for Danny Henny. Now, can he take the pressure that young Joshua Heslop is going to throw his way in buckets? The young man from Aberdeen, who has been very fast this year in everything he's driven. As I said, you could find him on Facebook, Joshua Heslop Motorsport. I'm going to give him a little bit of a follow for all you Facebook people out there and see how he gets on with his sim racing and his real racing. Henny is feeling the pressure here because he's starting to try and break away from the racing line to break the toe, Andy. So he's obviously very aware that the man behind him is quick.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a matter of when Josh is going to perhaps make that move. He's not really showing his hand here. He's just quite content to sit in the rear wing of Danny Henny and just let him know that he's there. Let him know that he's looking lively. Last time round, it was a 43-1 for both drivers, so nothing to split the pair of them. Just over 5 minutes left in this race as well. Still very much all to play for. All the meanwhile, Fraser Williamson is looking for a podium here because he's got a really good run on Adam Brown as they make their way up towards this tricky left-hander. Fraser just thinking better of it. Very, very close to the rear wing of Adam Brown, but Adam Brown lives to fight another day as they make their way around that never-ending right-hander into this first challenging chicane. It's all about getting the car nice and settled here on entry to maximise speed on exit. Well done there by Fraser, but I think Adam Brown's taking it just a tad cleaner, and he's just managing to pull away a little bit there, Duncan, and that will perhaps mean that he's got enough breathing space to fend off a move this lap.
I think everybody heard me inhale the microphone when Fraser Williamson looked like he was about to hit the back of Adam Brown there. It was there wasn't a lot left on the plate there by Fraser, but he means business. He's come up to fourth place. As you say, right now it's Owen Ross who would be the man in the reverse grid pole position slot for P8. But nobody wants to finish P8, really. You want to be further up if you can. And Fraser Williamson, I've got to say, Adam Brown is driving incredibly well here. And he just come back on screen, thankfully, there. But I do fear this is only a matter of time, Andy Allison. Fraser Williamson, 10-place improvement throughout the race. And Adam Brown looks like he's having to drive the wheels off of this car to stay ahead of the Movano Sims driver. He's in the slipstream. Can this be a manoeuvre into turn one? How many moves do you want to make on the straight, Adam? You can only make one, really. Here comes Williamson up the inside, and he gives it a huge move towards the apex to try and give as much warning and stay away from Brown as they come through. But Brown has been pretty good on the way in as they come round turn 2 in towards 3. Who is going to hold it? And Brown slots in behind Williamson into second place. That, Andy Alston onto the podium, is a power move by Fraser Williamson.
Yeah, really good move there from Fraser Williamson. And Adam Brown made him work for it as well. But committed nice and early, did Fraser. Gets the move done. And yeah, really good clean and fair driving from both of them as Williamson moves into a podium's place. Meanwhile, Jack Eyre again on the recovery drive up into 8th place. He's just made a move there on Owen Ross. Of course, Jack Eyre, as it stands, will start this finale from pole position. So it'll be interesting to see if Jack can finish this event on a high after, of course, having that incident with Fraser Williamson earlier on in this race. Meanwhile, Danny Henny, 0.3 of a second is still that gap between him and Joshua Heslop. Heslop just a little bit wide there on exit. That's going to cost him going down the straight here. Perhaps 2 laps or so left in this race. Heslop's got to start thinking about making a move if he wants to finish on the top step of the podium in this one.
Yeah, it's going to have to be sooner rather than later for Josh Heslop as we ride on board with him. We've just come from Danny's car back onto Josh's car. Josh, a different line into the corner here, trying to square it off, but ultimately he's just missed the apex all the way around, and that's costing him time, dragging time back from that the lap car in front of him there. As look at that, the car down the straight just gets that little bit smaller. A 40, I'm saying he's slower. He's hardly slower, Andy Elson. Let's see how this one goes. 43.3, 43.3 on the last lap for those two guys. Will he get another lap after this one? It's going to be very close. It is going to be very close. They go underneath the Rolex bridge in towards turn 3. Josh Heslop is needing to do something. As we look at it just now, Danny Henny, Josh Heslop, Fraser Williamson, your top 3 with, I've got to say, Adam Brown driving a fabulous race in 4th place. I'm still very, very impressed. Kyle Power, Kieran Smart, Mark Hearn, Jack Eyre will be the man who goes into pole position for race number 3 and 8th, with Owen Ross and Gaz Brown in 10th place. But here's Fraser. He's pulled away a little bit from Adam Brown as they come through the dreaded turn 6 just now. Kyle Power just behind Adam Brown in that 5th place in that very bright green car. So we have got 13 minutes of race number 2 gone here at the Hungaroring. Here's Kieran Smart, who we saw off the road. Was it in race number 1 he was off the road, and there was it earlier on? I can't for the life of me remember. It was all happening so quickly.
That's the story of these SMRC events, isn't it? It all comes thick and fast. And Jack here, still in 8th place. Owen Ross in 9th. Owen's had a very good race again. Started this one in 12th. So certainly one, I reckon, it's a contender for the Reece Motorsport Insurance Driver of the Day as things stand. Yeah. Ronald Grossman in 11th, just got Gaz Brown ahead of them. 2 of them having a good scrap or so, but it's John Higgins that's one worth mentioning, because started in 17th and up into 12th in this one. So I wonder how he's going to fare in this finale. A driver we know's got lots of pace, so I suspect he'll be in the top 10 and then some.
And he also went back into the pits in that last one, got a rear wing changed and came back out, fixed his damage and came out and finished 17th, didn't he? So as the white flag flies at the side there, if you're in America, you know exactly what that means. This is effectively the last lap of the race. And Danny Henny makes his way down towards turn 3. He looks like he's just managed to break the spirit of Josh Heslop as they go through that turn 3. The downward dropping away from you all the time as you go through at the front of the car. Doesn't want to hook up as much as the rear of the car. And then you start to hit the bottom of the basin here and you climb back up the hill to where we saw John Higgins land into the side of John Proctor, and more importantly Fraser Williamson land in the barrier on the inside there. And race number 1, Fraser Williamson's back up into 3rd place. 11 places gained over the course of this race for the SRC Movano Sim Corsa driver. 369 is the number on Fraser's car. He's not had an easy race though, because Adam Brown has kept the pressure up from him all the way through towards the end here. Adam in 4th place, just ahead of Kyle Power in the back of our shot just now. But I've got to say, Andy, as we're coming towards the end of the lap, this has been a great race from Danny Henny.
Yeah, it has, and that last lap is the crucial one, because he was 0.4 of a second quicker than Josh Heslop, and that's given him enough of a breathing space, I think, to secure the win here in the second event. It's been a good drive from Joshua Heslop, but Danny Henny, barring a disaster here in the last couple of corners, has got this one wrapped up.
Barring a disaster, Andy Alston has the commentator's curse struck. Let's hope it doesn't. He's trying to possibly get a Reese Motorsport Insurance Driver of the Day tag here because Danny Henny has been majestic in race number 2. He comes out, he weaves towards the checkered flag, and Danny Henny takes 2 out of 2 here at the Hungaroring. Josh Heslop in second. Fraser Williamson will come home in third place, and he will be happy with that drive. Adam Brown survives massive pressure towards the end from Kyle Power, who comes home fourth and fifth. With Kieran Smart, Mark Hearn, Jack Ayre, we wait to get across the line, who will start race number 3 from pole position for the Rethink Racing driver. Owen Ross in ninth. And Gaz Brown comes home in a fabulous 10th place. Both those drivers, Andy, putting a stake in a claim for the Reese Motorsport Driver of the Day, as is this man, John Higgins Jr. Junior, we'll call him, if you like him, or John, if you don't, comes across the line in 11th place. You will be delighted with that one, as will the team back home at base camp.
Yeah, definitely. Gaz Brown started in 18th and up into 10th. Really strong drive from him. Yeah, I think there's a number of drivers in the midfield here that have really benefited amid all the drama in race number 2. And of course, that means we've got it all to happen once more for the finale. David Bolton making that, bringing the car home in, well, I was going to say in one piece. It's obviously not in one piece, but bringing the car home safely in 13th place. A good points haul for him. Sean Dobie in 14th as well, and the rear wing is just hanging on and no more there, but looks of it. So there's been a fair bit of drama in the midfield, and yeah, stage is set, 5 minutes time for the finale here tonight.
Yeah, I thought that was Sean Dobie sporting the first of the summer upgrades on the Formula Renault with that new rear wing shape there at the back. But yeah, we do hope you enjoyed race 1 and race 2 here from the Hungaroring. Duncan, Vincent and Andy Alston as ever bringing you all the action. There's your race number 2 winner, Danny Henny from Josh Heslop and Fraser Williamson will be standing on the podium spraying that virtual bottle of champagne. Adam Brown in 4th, Kyle Power 5th, the top 5 there. We will have a short break. We will come back with race number 3. But this is where you want to get onto your keyboard and let us know. You know, you can do it through various ways. Facebook, you can leave a YouTube comment. You can even text myself or Andy Alston who you think should be the Reese Motorsport Insurance Driver of the Day. Have your say in the Driver of the Day. I think we should patent that, Andy Alston. Anyway, we'll come back.
Good. I'll give you that. That's quite good.
Thanks, mate. We'll come back in a couple of minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Until then, be safe. And just like that, we are back at the Hungaroring. Duncan, Vincent, Andy Alston with Pete and Mo back at base. This is the SMRC eSports Autumn Cup. Let's have a quick look at the calendar before we do anything, because let's let you know what's coming up. Round 3 is where we are. We're in Hungaroring. We go to Interlagos next weekend, then Silverstone, then Suzuka. 2 weeks to Interlagos, the 6th of October, 20th of October, Silverstone, and Suzuka on the 3rd of November. We'll round out our series. We possibly might have a champion crown before we get there. We're not far away from the start of race number 3, which we should, if memory serves me right, it's not that long ago we said it, Jack Ayre should be on pole position here. Have your say in the Reese Motorsport Insurance Driver of the Day as well. Let us know whether you're messaging via Discord, if you're doing it on YouTube, Facebook, whatever you are doing, let us know who you think the driver of the day should be. Edward Porter gave us a little bit of a message. Shout out for all the marshals. Yeah, absolutely, Edward. We'll do that all day, every day. For the SMRC marshals, for the KMSC marshals, for all the marshals in Scotland and across the UK. Thank you very much for everything you do. Jack Ayre's on pole from Mark Hearn, Kieran Smart and Kyle Power. Adam Brown's the third row of the grid with Fraser Williamson, with Josh Heslop and Danny Henny. Owen Ross, Gaz Brown, with Junior John Higgins in 11th and Jonathan Glover in 12th.
It's David Bolton, followed by Sean Dobie, Ronald Grossman in 15th, Cameron Ritchie, Dale Smith, Michael Weddle starts from 18th, it's Adam Kindness, Ryan Smith, John Proctor, Robert McGregor, Stuart Wyness and Nathan Lamond in 24th.
And here we go. If you're now ready, you'll be sitting down. I hope you're sitting comfortably. If you are, then we'll begin. We wait for the lights to come on the gantry. This is race number 3 from the Hungaroring for the SMRC eSports Autumn Cup. Revs rise. Here come the lights. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And it's a very quick turnaround. It's a good start from Jack Ayre. Jack has got a launch off the line there, and he's going to lead this into turn number 1 handsomely. Kyle Power comes through the middle of Mark Hearn. They're 3 wide. They're almost going to go 4 wide. Stand by the fire bottles, Andy Alston. Here they come. It's going to be Jack Ayre who leads through. Fraser Williamson trying to keep himself on the inside. Hearn spins it round. That's Adam Brown, actually, that spins round there. Or was it Mark Hearn? Red wheels. Yeah, Mark Hearn spins round. There's Adam Brown just going round the outside of Kyle Power just now. So everything happening again early on in this race. And let's hope everybody makes it round towards the end. Somebody else off. Who was that off? On the inside there. Adam Brown goes off now.
Lost it. Yeah,
oh,
just,
dear.
I think both Adam and I think Adam and Mark kind of lost it under their own power there. I don't think there was anything really untoward, any other contact. So that's just, again, we spoke about it earlier on. The car's not up to temperature, cold tyres. It's easy for them to get loose. Danny Henny always locking up into the chicane there at the first time of asking, but managing to come through unscathed. But Fraser Williamson just up the road from him as well. That would have been an interesting one to say the least. But both cars coming through undamaged, and Jack Ayre still leading the way from Kyle Power. And yeah, it's been a very, very interesting opener. Kieran Smart down 2 places from where he started, and Michael Weddle up into 11th from 18th. So a really good start to the race for the Rethink Racing driver. Yeah, good move from flying on to 11th place. Junior in 9th place as well. And, well, it was almost all over there for Fraser Williamson, because Danny Henny in that first chicane come rocketing up towards the back of him. And I've got to say, I don't know how close it was, but it looked mighty close from where I'm sitting in Glenrothes, and these guys are at the Hungaroring. But look at this at the front. Jack Ayre, fastest lap, 47.3. That could be Jack's fastest lap of the evening, actually. He's absolutely on it from a standing start. We'll say that. But Jack Ayre at the front pulls away in the Rethink Racing car. He needs a good result. He's had plenty of good results throughout the course of the year. But let's get the replay now of... we're going to go on board here. Well, there's Adam Brown exiting stage left or stage right on the beginning of that shot. Let's just ride on board here. Let's see how close this was. Kieran Smart and Fraser Williamson side by side through 6. That's brave stuff. Henny follows through. And it's as they go through turn 7, he closes up here. But the next chicane, how close does Danny Henny get to the back of Fraser Williamson? Watch this as he comes up here. He's on the dirty side of the track. He brakes. Good grief. Andy Alston, again, I was right to almost inhale the microphone. That was almost game over for Fraser and Danny. Yeah, that was close and then some, wasn't it? Very, very, very tight indeed. But Danny's certainly getting a move on, though, and he's got a number of cars close behind. Kyle Power, Kieran Smart, Joshua Heslop, Owen Ross. Again, very, very impressive night, and up 2 places from where he started. I think Jack Ayre potentially had a wee bit of a moment, Duncan, because the gap at the front has dropped to 9/10 of a second. That's going to bring Fraser Williamson into slipstream range here. So again, Jack's got his work out here. As it stands, he's on course for his second win of the year in our eSports Racing Cups, and it's going to be interesting to see if he can just keep the car out of trouble and potentially work on getting that gap back up to the over 1 second point.
Yep, 0.7 of a second is the gap that Jack has over Fraser Williamson. Is that Josh Heslop using all the track a little bit more in some of the grandstand by the looks of things coming through that last corner? He certainly is tucked under the back of Kieran Smart. Just now he pops out from the slipstream. Kieran Smart in turn is catching Kyle Power, so they're all getting very close to each other in towards turn number 1. But Jack Eyre 0.6 of a second, so Fraser is coming towards Jack Eyre at the front. And Fraser Williamson, well, it wouldn't be a normal sim racing night for us here at the SMRC if that man in the Movano Sims car doesn't at least win one race. Am I right, Andy?
Well, he did a clean sweep last time out at Imola, and it's just he's been such a mainstay on the podiums throughout all the spring and summer cups as well, and he's made it difficult for himself tonight. I have to say, he's had to really wring every bit of performance out of that car just to go on that recovery drive. But credit to him, he's back at the sharp end again, and it's now half a second or just over that between him and Jack Eyre. So Jack's lost that protection from the draft, and he could be vulnerable on the straight here as they prepare for the 4th lap of this race.
Yeah, I've got to say though, he's held that 0.6 of a second for the entirety of this lap. He's actually knocked it back up to 0.7 on the braking for turn 14 there, as they get very, very lively in that exit curve. This is where we saw Fraser Williamson not having a very good car earlier on, but he rushes into that corner quick and he manages to drag the Formula Renault through. Still 0.6 of a second. Jack Eyre going well at the front here in clean air for Jack Eyre as they come onto the main straight. Let's watch 0.3 of a second. He's lost at that last corner, so that really will hurt him. They cross the line. It's a 43.6 to a 43.3. So Fraser Williamson 0.3 of a second faster. Danny Henney in the 44s. Has he picked up a problem? Have we seen contact maybe, or have we maybe not seen contact? Because it's not like him, Andy, to be so much slower.
Yeah, he's had a little bit of a moment there on the last lap. His best lap so far has been a 43.2, so his pace is good. So he's just maybe had a little bit of a nervy moment somewhere. Jack Eyre having a bit of a moment as well, going wide there. That's bringing Fraser Williamson right into contention. And let's see if he does make a move into this left-hander. It would be brave if he if he makes that one. Yeah. Committed early there, coming out at the toe just to make himself look lively in the rear view mirrors of the Jack Eyre, but it's not managed to work this time round. But Duncan, I suspect this is a move that's all started on that final corner on the previous lap, because Fraser took a much narrower line and that really gave him the drive down the start-finish straight, and he's right on the rear wing of Jack Eyre.
Jack looks like he's overdriving the car to me now as we sit on board with Fraser Williamson. He's just using every curb, he's trying everything he can do to stay ahead as they come through up towards turn 13. The fast right-hander on the way in here. Oh, he touches that curb. You see the correction on the way in for Fraser Williamson. Cat-like reactions from the 369 car there down towards turn 14. But Andy, I agree 100%. This is all stemming from the last corner on the last lap. The pressure is intensifying. Where Fraser had the biggest shot was turn 6, but it's just simply not an overtaking place. That's where he dropped the car in race number 1. And for him to try and do anything there, well, he's already been in the wall on the inside of that. But what's happening here is Danny Henney is coming back up towards the back of Fraser Williamson now, because Jack's pace at the front on this last lap as he crosses the line is into the 44s. 43.9 for Williamson. He's in the toe. He goes towards the inside. Jack gives him quite a bit of space, and through on the inside goes Fraser Williamson, the Movano Sims racer. 369 takes the lead here at the Hungaroring. Jack Eyre fights back on the inside through turn 2. But Fraser Williamson has all the aces in his hand as they come up towards the inside of turn 3. And that is the job done and dusted. Now Jack has to watch for behind coming up. Well, in fact, he's making moves at Fraser Williamson now. This next man that we're on board with, though, Danny Henney, he's watching what's happening ahead of him. And is Jack about to have another go back at the lead here, Andy?
He's certainly looking lively, isn't he? I thought he was going to throw that car up the inside there, but thinks better of it. But this is ideal for Danny, because he's letting these two cars in front of him scrap, and he's there to pick up the pieces. So it's been again a strong lap last time round for Danny Henney. It was a 143.3 So, yeah, Danny's now beginning to get a move on over the halfway point in the final race here this evening, and it's very much a 3-car fight, potentially even 4 or 5, really, that could all win this race. And Jack Hare just losing a little bit of the curb and then some on exit. We've seen that go wrong for other drivers tonight, but Jack Hare lives to fight another day. 0.3 of a second now is the gap between him and Fraser Williamson. Jack Hare, in fact, locking up. Jack Hare locking up in the right-hander. It's going to leave him vulnerable here. Does Danny make a move? He's looking like he's going to try and go the long way round, perhaps. Not managing to make it stick this time. Will he make a late lunge into the final corner, the right-hander? Jack Hare closes the door. And yes, this is it. The front three are all scrapping. Fraser Williamson, now look at the gap. It's role reversal. Fraser Williamson setting off into the sunset. I reckon that is at least 0.8 of a second or so that he's got between Jack Hare and Danny Heney.
I agree 100% with that one as Heney tries to go around the outside of Air on the brakes at turn 1, and it's going to happen. What a manoeuvre. Can he keep it on the track here? Yes, Jack tries to go back on the inside. Eyebrows are raised through every part of the house in the commentary box with that one. That was a great manoeuvre from Danny Heney. I would have to call that a power manoeuvre. To brake and go round the outside of somebody is just not what happens. Racing drivers do not like to have somebody outbrake them, but never mind outbrake them going round the outside. So Jack here maybe just not feeling the car underneath him right now in this race. Danny Heney very much loving the car he's got under him. He's in second place and he's making eyes at the back of Williamson. In 9th place, Michael Weddle has come up 9 places and he's just fighting with Owen Ross here as they go through the dreaded turn 6 area. Michael Weddle, who has not had the best of, I'm going to say race meetings, but Andy, I'm going to say he's not had the best of cups so far.
Yeah, but Michael's had a couple of incidents, unfortunately. Some not being his own doing, and it could have very easily been another one there. For instance, Weddle could have been collected. Thankfully, manages to come through unscathed. But it's a driver with plenty of pace. We know that, and he'll be keen to finish this event strongly. Already in the top 10, and potentially could make further progress. Back at the front though, this Danny Heney though, Duncan, again now coming under pressure from Jack Hare. So Jack Hare's had a much stronger lap here. Yeah, definitely, and I reckon. Could he make a move down the start-finish straight and into turn 1?
Jack Attack is back on the map and he's coming through the last corner here. Bit of understeer mid-turn there, but he has certainly not let Danny Heney get away from himself. He just didn't look too great through the last corner there. So Jack in 3rd place just now, lap time 43.8, 43.5, 44.2, 44.3. So Jack Hare's comparable lap times with everybody behind him. Just these two guys at the front as Josh Heslop slides up the inside of Kyle Power, and that was a lovely, lovely bit of overtaking from Josh Heslop there. Didn't need to go 2 abreast through turn 2. He holds that position down towards turn 3 in the car with the white sides, green side pods, and black and white top to it. And you're never going to mistake Kyle Power's car, that's for sure. It's the greenest thing this side of the golf course as they go down and up towards turn 6. 11 minutes of this race already gone, Andy Alston. 11 minutes gone. What's going to happen in the last 4?
Yeah, certainly flown in this one. And remember, Danny Heney is looking to make a clean sweep here. He's won race number 1 and 2. I don't think he's going to want to let Fraser Williamson get away so easily. However, Jack Hare is making life difficult for Danny here because Danny's got to look in the rear-view mirrors. He can't focus fully on that car in front, but it's also bringing Joshua Heslop, Kyle Power, Kieran Smart all into contention here. So there's 6 cars that could all very easily exchange places on the last couple of laps of this race. Jack Hare got a very good run there on Danny, but it's at a tricky part of the lap to try and make a move. You could throw the car up the inside here in the right-hander, but you're leaving yourself very, very vulnerable on that never-ending left-hander. Danny runs very, very wide, though, it must be said. Jack Hare, can he get a cleaner exit on the final corner? He just managed to get the car unsettled, and that cost him the drive on exit and down the start-finish straight. Let's see how he gets on this time round. He takes a narrow line once again, as does Danny. In fact, Jack just collects the curb. Again is going to compromise him. The back end of the car is going to get light, and that allows Danny to take the momentum down the start-finish straight.
Yeah, great example of what the curb does to the car there. Sometimes a curb can help you. Other times a curb can really upset you. That one there, it lifts the car up, so it breaks a bit of the downforce from underneath the car, because these cars do generate a good bit of pulling power from the floor. And when you lose that, the back of the car wanders a bit free. And yeah, Jack hasn't lost a great deal of time off that, but what he did lose was the momentum that he'd been building through that lap, as we see Josh Heslop, Kyle Power, and Kieran Smart arrive at turn 3 all together now. And they go through turn 4. Yeah, that's it. You've got to be green to be in that battle there for 4th, 5th, and 6th as they come up towards the famous turn 6 where Jack Hare has just followed Danny Heney through. Fraser Williamson, He still leads at the front of this one, and the Movano Sims driver will be pretty happy. He's come up 5 positions. Danny Heney's come up 6 positions in the final. Michael Weddle, well, he's improved 10 positions. As we look further down, Stuart Wyness as well has come up 11 places. So John Higgins Jr. as well. We mentioned him. He's had a little bit of bad luck, but he's been driving so well tonight for us. Junior has. Currently, he sits in 7th place, just ahead of Michael Weddle on the road. But we're probably thinking, here comes Junior now, right on cue. Perfect stuff. Through he goes. Dad back at HQ. Famous driver himself is his dad, actually. John Higgins, and legend, and the ASCAR scene around Great Britain in the, I'm going to say late 90s, early 90s, but I'll probably get a row for that in a text later on saying that he's not that old. Or was it the 80s? I can't really remember now, but a fast man, still fast, still has it. As we come towards the end of lap number 8, we'll probably get this lap, and one more, Andy, going by my stopwatch. And that, the gaps look pretty much equidistant is a pretty good word to use.
Yeah, definitely. This will be the last lap of the race, almost certainly. Danny Haney's just, he's got a little bit of a gap now from Jack, but Fraser's got 0.8 of a second on him, and it's going to have to be a miracle lap for Danny Haney if he wants to do a clean sweep here tonight. It's a tricky one for him. Michael Weddle, again, a shout out to, started in 18th up into 8th, so he's been a really strong final race for the Rethink Racing driver. This has been a very quick race, I have to say. It feels like we're just getting going and we're almost done. But let's take a look back at the front. So Williamson leading from Heney. Jack here just a little bit further behind now in 3rd place. So Fraser Williamson has got a couple of corners to go now, really, to wrap up the final win here tonight. But he's going out in style there with a little bit of a corrective steering on exit and then some. He's definitely not going to coast this car home. He's going to push it all the way, because Danny's certainly going to not give this one up without a fight. Keeps it nice and clean there, clean and tidy. Just sawing away a little bit still with that steering wheel on exit. But it's been a good recovery drive from Fraser Williamson, and I think he will be delighted to finish this one on the top step of the podium.
I have to agree 100%. Andy Alston, you've called it bang on there. He will be delighted. His day started in the barrier at the exit of turn 6, and I'm pretty sure he wasn't expecting that, and he's going to end race number 3 on the top step of the box with the SMRC eSports Autumn Cup here from the Hungaroring, chased home by Danny Heney, who could possibly be the man of the meeting. We don't know who our Reese Motorsport Insurance driver of the day is just yet, but here comes Fraser Williamson to cross the line and take the checker flag for race number 3. Movano Sims driver edges himself just that little bit closer to the overall championship. Danny Heney comes home in 2nd place. Jack Ayre gets a fabulous podium in 3rd place. Josh Heslop, Kyle Power, Kieran Smart. Shout out to this man. He'd done half of it with no rear wing in race number 1 and was still incredibly quick for John Higgins Jr. Flying Mo Michael Weddle comes home in 8th place. Owen Ross is 9th. And Jonathan Glover, with a great drive there from Jonathan Glover to come home, Andy Alston, inside the top 10.
Yeah, definitely. Really strong drive from Jonathan. Number of drivers have really impressed tonight. It must be said, some really, really good racing throughout. And it's been, I was looking forward to Hungaroring when this was first announced on iRacing for the new season. As Robert McGregor bows out in style there, certainly an interesting one to say the least. But it's been a really enjoyable 3 races, and I'm very much looking forward to hearing the thoughts of a number of drivers very soon.
Yeah, I would like to invite any driver that could come into our waiting room. Please come in. We sometimes only get the same guys that want to come in, but if you've had a good drive, Jonathan Glover, John Higgins Jr., Ryan Smith, maybe not having a good drive at the end there, why not pop into our virtual waiting room? Come and have a chat with us. Myself and Andy, we don't bite, do we, Andy? I don't think we bite anyway. I don't think so. But we'll move over to Discord in a minute or two. Andy and myself will have a quick chat about the Reese Motorsport Insurance driver of the day. As the screen shows us the results, it's Williamson from Heney and Ayre, with Heslop in 4th and Kyle Power the top 5. I have to say, one of the drivers for the Reese Motorsport Insurance driver day has, in my mind, is John Higgins Jr., but also Jonathan Glover has put together a pretty steady race number 3 there. Andy Alston, it's difficult as well to look away from Danny Heney. He was pretty impressive from the word go.
He certainly was. Danny had a great drive throughout. 2 wins and a 2nd place. He was delighted with that. Very, very quick driver. Worth giving a shout out as well to Owen Ross. Started this event in 24th, finished 12th in the opener. It was 9th in race number 2, and then another strong finish for 9th place in the finale as well. Very, very good drive from him. But yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? So If you're still dithering over who you would like to put your name forward, this is the last chance saloon to suggest a driver for this accolade, and we will announce the winner very, very soon.
Do we have to do this in secrecy, Andy, or do we just talk about it right now live on air?
Oh, I don't know. I'll let you make the final call, but I'm going to give a shout out to Owen Ross. I think Owen was terrific tonight. Very, very good drive throughout. I think it's very difficult when you're starting at the back of the pack in the opener to really build on that, and Owen did it perfectly. Really good scrapping, held his own in the top 10 as well, and for me was very impressive throughout.
Definitely, I'm going to go with that. I'm going to say it was, in my mind, it was going to be between John Higgins Jr. for the no-wing driving until I went horribly wrong. But Owen Ross, like you say, rightfully say, from the back of the pack through 3 good, steady results. So this Reese Motorsport Insurance Driver of the Day, you can have your say, and we've had our say, and it's going to be Owen Ross, car number 420 from Scotland. He will take the driver of the day. So in our waiting room, we've got Danny Henney, Fraser, John Higgins Jr. is in the waiting room. Now, that's a shock. We've never had him in. We've got Josh Heslop, and we've got Flymo. We could almost call him Flymo Tirewall Armco Barrier tonight. It's not been a good night for Michael Weddle. So we'll unmute Discord. We'll head across, and let's grab in Junior first of all, John Higgins Jr., because we've never had him in the room, and if we don't get him in first, he might leave. So I suppose it's a hello, good evening, and a big warm welcome to John Higgins Jr. First time we've had you in our sim broadcast interview room. Junior, first of all, you didn't have a rear wing in that first race, and you were still absolutely flying. And myself and Andy giggling at how you were managing to do it. What was the car like to drive?
The car was just uncontrollable. It was skidding around, it was sliding around every corner, and towards the end I just lost it.
Now, you still managed to do a 44 flat lap, and we were all riding on board with you. And I've got to say, myself and Andy thought you looked extremely calm behind the wheel. Was it giving you plenty of warnings that it was going to bite you in the bum, though?
Yeah, it was giving me plenty of warnings. It's just so hard to keep control of it. I think that lap was just a fluke, to be honest.
Yeah,
like 45, 46s.
You can't say that at all. And you've also dipped your toe into the real world of motorsport. How is that? How are you getting on with that?
It was good. I did a track day in a Mazda MX-5 a few weeks back, and it was really good. Hoping to do it full time next season if we can get the sponsors together, but it was good.
Yeah, listen, we wish you the best of luck. We're looking forward to the next round as well. Interlagos, is it a place you know very well?
I haven't even turned a lap on that track yet, so I haven't even bought it yet, so I'll do that now, actually. That's good.
Junior, it's been a pleasure, mate. Thank you very much. We'll catch up with you. We'll catch up with you later on. Well,
thanks again.
We'll let you head off just now. And right then, who Andy next? Who will we have in next? Andy Allison.
Oh, I think we've got to go with our race winner for number 3, Fraser Williamson, because it'd been an interesting event overall for Fraser. Wrapping up the finale. So yes, really good drive from Fraser Williamson. Let's join Fraser in the virtual commentary box. Fraser, you made that difficult for yourself. That was a dramatic 3 races, but you've finished on the top step of the podium in the finale. Just talk us through your thoughts on the event.
Yeah, I kind of just completely forgot that curb and doing things like that can end badly. I just completely ran out of, I don't know, it just stopped functioning through that one corner, and well, it spit me backwards into a wall, and that was race 1 done. Race 2 was just a bit hectic trying to get back through the field. First time in these open wheel cars, and it was an interesting experience. And obviously, race 3 was a good race with Jack and Danny once we got it through that one.
And you had a little bit of a tangle with Jack here in race number 2 as well. We were wondering, were you feeling the damage in the car? We saw you kind of weaving a little bit just out of turn 1. Did you feel something in the front left?
No, I didn't feel anything at all. I'm pretty sure that was lap 1, race 2 you're talking about. Lap out of turn 1. I'm pretty sure that was me. I don't know what I was weaving at. Could have been lap traffic, I think, but that's the only time I remember weaving, was to try and get the middles of lap traffic when they came out through turn 1. But I don't remember. Yeah, there was no actual damage. It was, a non-existent contact, let's put it that way.
Okay, but then a strong finish in the finale, and I suspect you'll be very happy to round off your event with a race win, because after the incident in the opener in race 1, your event could have gone a very different way, but it was a very strong recovery drive, and you've wrapped up an impressive victory.
Yeah, especially with how these race 2s and race 3s can go if you're starting from the back, it can be a slippery slope to try and climb back up.
Fraser, I lost a little bit of that interview there. I was just wondering, was there contact with you and Jack? Was it an echo? From where I looked, it looked like it was looked like Jack's car jumped sideways. I didn't see contact as you were going through turn 13.
It was necklace.
I called it right. I'm surprised at that. Are you guys impressed with that back at base? I never knew what a net code was 2 or 3 weeks ago. So, Fraser, it was great to see you back on the top step of the podium, mate. That was an impressive run for how your night started, as Andy just highlighted there. Congratulations, Interlagos. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's a track I've gone fairly well at recently, and it's one that I enjoy a lot, actually. It's going to be good fun. These open wheel FR 2.0s should suit themselves to the track. It's going to be a lot of slow speed where the car does struggle slightly with locking the inside front on entry. So it'll be interesting to see who can adapt the best to that and can put together 3 good races, hopefully.
Fraser, have a good week off, and we'll look forward to seeing you in Interlagos. Make sure you bring your Bermuda shorts. It's going to be lovely weather.
All right, cheers, guys.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye. And with Fraser making his way out, we shall get our Reese Motorsport Insurance Driver of the Day. And now, has he just disappeared, actually?
No, I'm here.
Oh, yeah, he is. Yeah, Lifelike Cave. Yeah. Congratulations, Mr. Owenross. What a fabulous event you had there. And Andy Allison highlighted it. Starting at the back of the pack can sometimes make it very difficult, but congratulations. You are tonight's Hungaroring SMRC eSports Reese Motorsport Insurance Driver of the Day. Well done.
Thank you.
Tell us how you managed to do it, please, because it doesn't look easy from where we're sitting.
I'm not sure. I was like, I wasn't really expecting to be fast because I was sort of crashing all the time in practice, but I genuinely don't know.
And what's the car like to drive? Have you had any experience of it before, or is this your first time?
This is my first time. I just got iRacing just before the championship started, so not driven the car before. It's quite difficult to just like get into. But once you get into a rhythm, it's really good. Really good fun to drive.
So, Owen, if you're brand new to iRacing, tell us a little about the setup that you're running at the moment. What sort of gear are you using to take part?
I've got a Thrustmaster TX wheel, the TX leather wheel. With the T3PA pedals, and I'm using a Logitech shifter with a USB adapter because I do not have 180 quid to shell out for Thrustmaster's shifter. So, and I've got a really good deal on a wheel stand on eBay. So that's there instead of mounting it to my desk for better stability.
Yeah, definitely. And how beneficial are you finding the whole experience on iRacing? It's a very different platform from someone who's perhaps been console based primarily up until this point.
It is very different. I've played a lot of Assetto Corsa on my PC. So I've got some experience with sim. But iRacing it's so much better, so much more immersive and realistic. There's a lot of things that you can do in it that you can't do in Assetto Corsa. So yeah, really enjoying it so far.
We certainly look forward to seeing you in Interlagos. You have been tonight's Reese Motorsport Insurance Driver of the Day, mate. 10 out of 10. Keep it up, and let's see if a podium beckons when we head to Brazil.
Will do, hopefully.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We'll let Owen head off just now. And next up, we're going to have a man who's at his first top 10 tonight. It's going to be John Glover, who slips inside the broadcast booth just now. John Glover, I think we've got to say, John, fabulous driving race number 3. The congratulations. It's been coming. Myself and Andy have been watching your results. But first of all, how are you feeling after tonight?
I'm absolutely chuffed with that. I've been racing with you guys for a couple of seasons now, and that's the best result I've ever had. I was dialed in, I was concentrating, I was sweating buckets, and when I saw that white flag come out, it's like, right, 90 more seconds, John, 90 more seconds, and then nailed the top 10. I'm buzzing. Brilliant stuff.
So what you're saying is tonight you concentrated and you focused. What have you been doing for all the other nights then? You've just been sitting there with a tin of Coke and some crisps.
Kicking myself mainly because I never seem to get any practice in during the week, and I always try to commit. I think, right, I'm going to do it this week, and it never happens. And I always get quicker through qualifying, through race 1, through race 2, race 3, and I just wish that I'd put a bit more in, and who knows, but maybe I will for the next round. I don't even know where the next round is, but.
Well, Andy Allison and myself can tell you, Andy, if I'm not mistaken, I'll be seeing Interlagos. It is Interlagos we go to next, Andy. We're heading over towards Brazil. John, Andy.
Oh yeah.
Keep him right, Andy, please.
No, it's definitely Interlagos, and then we're off to Silverstone with the finale in Suzuka. So 3 very, very interesting tracks to round off our
Sure, I will
Autumn
be
Cup.
horribly jet lagged for Brazil, but I'll do my best.
John, perfect. Thank you very much. Congratulations on tonight's result, mate.
Thank
well
you.
done.
Cheers, guys.
Right, from one man who was sweating buckets, we're going to get the next man who was sweating buckets in, and that was Jack here, because that last race, I'm pretty sure Jack's cool as a cucumber, but I think there's a few moments in that car where there was maybe not a bit of breathing as he's going through corners, and there was a few bits of tense on the steering wheel. Jack, huge pressure from Danny towards the end of that. You soaked it up, he passed you, but then you repaid the favour and gave him a bit of pressure.
It was weird. I didn't really click in that race until after I got overtaken by everybody, and I thought to myself, right, you're on the lowest step of the podium. Get your finger out, do something. But yeah, I had a great lap one. Got the gap up to like nearly 2.5 seconds, I think, and then just lost it in a single lap just from overdriving, braking too late, too much brake pressure, just locking up in places that I didn't need to. But the second Fraser got past me, I learned a few things, and then the second Danny got past me. I thought, right, let's put this research to use, and I luckily managed to keep with him, so it's good. Myself
and Andy thought tonight's racing was fabulous. From our point, watched it. You're in a different kind of zone. You could maybe go back and watch it. But what was the circuit like for you? Did it reward you as much as it was for giving myself and Andy great racing to watch?
Oh, it's such a good track. I loved it. It lends itself to decent racing as well. There's plenty of lines through all the different corners. Like turn 2, there's 3 different ways you can approach that corner, and they're relatively similar in terms of how time wise, so you can pull switchbacks off, brake late, send it up the end. Well, it's such a good track. I loved it.
Jack, one thing we picked up on throughout the races is your race starts in particular are very, very impressive tonight. Is that something you've been working on deliberately going into this event?
Not really. It's one of them things. It's one of the rare occasions, or the rarer occasions, shall I say, where gear actually does make a difference. I've got 2 clutch paddles, so I've got my clutch biting point dialed in pretty much, and it's the same starting procedure every time. It's not luck. It's just one of those automated processes. But in other aspects, my gear doesn't really make me any better. Because I was fighting with Adam, and he's got like Logitech stuff, and I don't think it's a barrier. I don't want to hide behind the fact that my gear makes me any faster, but at the starts, certainly, because I can repeat that every time. I'm
hearing in my ear that you've got some pretty good gear, just to let you know. I've got Pete Butcher in my ear.
Yeah, it's all right. It's been a process though. It's not something that I've just randomly thought, oh, let's jump into sim racing and spend a bomb. I've been doing this since 2014. It's been an accumulation over many years, and it will outlive me, and that's the reason that I bought it, because I'm sick of buying replacement stuff.
And the thing is, Jack, as well, you can have the best race car on the track, you still got to have the ability to drive it, so it's one of these things. So I'm
practicing my arse off, Duncan, every week, just to try and get within a second of the fast boys. So, to have a race 3 like that, I'll take it.
I was very much giving you a compliment there, mate. Honestly, I'm very impressed with that one. I would have thrown it off the road or hit the back of somebody well before you even got on that podium. So congratulations. We look forward to seeing you over the pond in Interlagos, a circuit that you enjoy.
Should be good. Enjoyed it last time we were there with the SMRC in the GT4 cars. Again, a good track for overtaking. So yeah, hopefully we'll carry the pace I had in race 3 through to the next round.
Jack, always a pleasure, never a chore. Look forward to seeing you on the podium in Interlagos, mate.
Thank you, gents. Take care.
Ta-ta. Bye. They're good. Lovely guy. Let's get the man off the the man of the moment in that red car, and he is fabulous. We missed him at Imola. Danny wasn't with us at Imola for reasons out of our control and his, but he's back this weekend. Wow, is he ever back? 2 victories and a second place. Danny Henny, congratulations, mate. Fabulous driving.
Cheers, thanks guys. Really enjoyed it. I was absolutely gutted I couldn't make last week. I was looking pretty good in practice, so I was hoping to give Fraser a run for his money. But I had to sit at home watching him on the telly, obviously having a good event. But yeah, really glad to be back. Had an absolute blast tonight and was sweating in race 1 and 2, that's for sure.
Of course, you were in the chat quite a bit last week, but also it was a mechanical failure on the steering wheel, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so I've got the Fanatec podium package, and literally in the practice, I did a couple of laps and it was fine. And then it like went all weird and it was turning, but it was turning in like 15-degree increments. So you'd be going down the straight and it'd just fire you into the barrier. So it was good. I couldn't get it replaced quick enough, but the new one turned up Monday. I'm still not 100% comfortable, but I've got it drivable for now. So I'm there or thereabouts at the minute.
Sounds like Michael Weddle had that problem today. We'll maybe find out in a minute from Flymo if that's the case for him. But when you are under pressure out there, you seem to cope with it so well. Myself and Andy speak about you quite a lot because we're so impressed with how you've just arrived and been so quick. But how do you cope with the pressure when you've got Fraser or Josh all over the back of you?
As strange as it sounds, I've got my vape with me. So literally every straight I'm just vaping as mad as I can to try and calm me down. So that actually is my little hidden talent. But other than that, you feel the pressure. And I very much talk to myself quite a bit as well. You know, you're counting down the laps. And when it goes 2 laps to go, you're just like, right, just focus on the braking points, get it in. Don't try and push too much. Or if you see a bit of a weakness, you might try and push for a lap. But it might look all dead calm outside the cockpit, but I can assure you it's sweating and nerves going inside of it. But yeah, definitely the vape helps. That's the secret.
Kids, there are other things you can
promoting
do.
Smoking,
you know?
by the way, with that. However, I'm just saying that's what works for me.
Maybe a piece of chewing gum or something else, a stress ball, kids. But Andy Alston, is that a new one for you? It's certainly a new one for me, Andy. Dearie me.
Well, I was just going to ask about in Largos then, Danny. It might be a bit trickier. There's not as many long straights and things like that there. But you know, Danny, I wonder, race number 3, did you get a sense that you could have taken the win in that one because you also did so well in race number 1 and race number 2, and you pushed Fraser all the way?
I did, funnily enough. Off the line, I got a good launch. It was a bit touch and go. I was in the middle of a few packs through there, but I think we come through turn 3. And I had a run on Fraser to get round the outside, which would have given me the inside for turn 4. And unfortunately, I can't remember who it was. There was a car just in front of me and I had to lift not to crash into him. And I think that was the chance I had, really. I think if I could have got him then, I'd have had a good chance at the win. But I knew it was pretty much on that first lap. Whoever could finish the lap in front would probably get to the front and win the race. And then when I was behind him, you can understand in the F1 why they can't overtake now, because the dirty air, you just cannot drive through it. You just can't get the nose turned in and you scrub, and it's a bit frustrating. But yeah, I definitely thought I had a chance. If I'd have got him on lap 1, I think I could have made it 3 out of 3, but it weren't to be. We'll come back and we'll try again.
Danny, thank you very much for coming into the commentary box for a chat. We'll let you go and top up on fluid, and we'll look forward to seeing you in Interlagos. Now that you've let your secret out, though, let's see what other people tell us. So catch you later on, buddy. Thank you very much.
Cheers, thanks guys. Have a good night. Bye.
Thank you. Let's get Mike. We're gonna get Michael Weddle, and we're gonna have Josh Heslop as well, if it's okay with you, Pete, back home there. Let's get Flymo in, because Danny Heaney was just telling us about how his steering wheel was operating at 15-degree increments, and he'd be driving along the straight, and suddenly we just steer off into the barrier. Michael Weddle.
Hello.
Did you have a problem with your steering wheel that was working in 15-degree increments that made you fire off into the barrier?
No, Mark Heron. I think it was Kieran Smart and Mark Heron had a bit of a. They were side by side going through that fast right hand, and I thought I'll just sneak it around the left. And Mark didn't see me sneaking around the left and just came back across. And then I just had a nice little Flymo across the grass into the wall. So
yeah, I mean, we're just looking. We can see this on the stream right now. Not that we want to make you. Well, it's not the same incident I've just been told. This is one of your incidents, so who knows what we could be seeing here. But that was Mark Heron going round in a circle at turn 1 there. But did you enjoy the circuit, Michael? Because it did look, for me and Andy, we loved tonight. The racing was fabulous. What was it like as a driver?
I think today, driving standards-wise, was probably the best we've had throughout the whole series of championships, well, the Summer Cup, Autumn Cup. the driving standards today were really, really good. So you got some really close racing. I think Owen thoroughly deserved driver of the day. I think he went full Alonso in race 3 when I was trying to get by him. They're just so hard to pass. It's such a challenging track, which made it so the race is really good actually. So I was quite surprised.
Andy, Alistair and myself
So-
were having a bit of a giggle about quite a few things here today, but we don't giggle about you crashing. We don't. we give you a hard time
Oh,
about it.
don't lie. Don't lie.
But I think, Andy, we were both saying, Michael, and you'll agree with this, Andy, Michael does deserve a bit of luck in this Autumn Cup. It's not gone his way, has it?
No, just one thing after another, Michael, doesn't it? That's what we were saying in the earlier on. You had the moment of the away from the grid at Imola, and it was just very difficult. You're on the recovery drive after that as a result, and it was kind of similar really tonight, wasn't it? It's just you're on that kind of recovery drive and finish strongly, but you must be kind of frustrated as well a little bit with how the Formula Renault's gone for you.
I wouldn't say frustrated. I've not got the pace that the top guys have got. They guys are just ridiculously fast. So I'm lacking a bit of pace, to be honest. I've never really been good in open wheelers, and thank goodness I don't race them in real life as well, because my damage bill would be through the roof. But yeah, open wheelers probably not for me, but I am really enjoying the challenge, to be honest. I haven't done much racing and iRacing in them before, but you could say it's frustrating, but I'm just really enjoying the racing at the minute.
Your damage bill's through the roof in a Mini as well, from what I've seen over the years, pal. So,
Has cheap bits, you can get them cheap.
Yeah,
Go-Kart's
they're-
my best friend.
slightly cheaper for bouncing off of things. But okay, so we head over the pond to Interlagos. Danny Heaney's just told everybody who's listening his secret weapon is a vape he carries down the streets to deal with the stress. What's your secret weapon as we head over towards Interlagos? Is it hours and hours of testing? What are you going to do?
I think that would be the weapon to do some testing, but at the minute I'm kind of just rocking up on the Tuesday open practice that we have, doing a few laps and see where we get to. But I should probably sink some more time into it. I think I'm really looking forward to Interlagos, actually. It's one of my favourite tracks when you're watching Formula One. So it's really good to try and do it in the virtual world. So should be quite good. Should be hopefully the same style of racing as we get today in Hungary. We try and get some two wide battles going on, and like I said, the racing was really good, so hopefully going forward we'll have the same again.
Go and get some practice under your belt, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the 22nd.
I'll try.
Yeah, no problem. You take care.
Cheers, guys.
Here, buddy. Bye bye. Let's finish with Josh Heslop. Then we've cleaned out the room once we got Josh in. Not only is he a fast real circuit driver, he's a blindingly fast eSports driver. Josh, you've had a busy couple of days from Superlap Scotland at the weekend straight into this. Where did you fit the practice in to get so fast tonight?
I did a bit of practice pretty much just after the last round at Imola. Did a couple of days then, and since then I've not had a huge amount of practice, but just managed to get it in early.
Yeah, everything's falling in the right place for you just now. You're flying in real life and you're flying on this. So what was tonight like for you? Because there was a few times where it looked like you were so quick, but there just wasn't room to get past. Is it a difficult circuit to overtake on?
Yeah, it's quite tricky to pass. I think obviously, yeah, put it on pole. The pace was good, and I think at a lot of points in the race we had good pace, but it was just very difficult to pass without a significant pace difference or without people making mistakes. And unfortunately, people weren't making too many mistakes tonight.
Yeah,
Josh-
mistakes are on you go, Andy. On you
No,
go.
I was just wondering. It's looking at your 3 results in the round. It's 2 second places and a 4th. I mean, that's a really impressive haul of points in the championship as well. Because what we've seen throughout all these cups is you can get one good result here and there, but it's very tricky to just pull a consistent points haul from one event in its entirety. So you must be really pleased with how things have gone overall.
Yeah, I'm really happy with it. I mean, in the first couple of rounds this cup, I've been a bit unlucky and got caught up in incidents in the third race. So tonight coming into it, I think I knew I had the pace to get good results in the first 2 races, but in the reverse grid, I was really just focused on getting a good result. Didn't want to take too many high risk moves. Just try and consolidate a good night and good results.
No, I think you've done a great job all season, by the way, and I love watching you race. Let's see what Interlagos brings. The time difference from there and Aberdeen is quite considerable. You have to do a lot of training for that one, but it's a circuit I know you'll know well because you're a motorsport fan. So out of the last 3 circuits, Interlagos, Silverstone and Suzuka, what one are you most looking forward to, Josh?
I'm a really big fan of all of them, to be honest with you. I've driven Silverstone quite a bit in real life, so I quite like that track. But also Interlagos and Suzuka are two of my favourites. They're not ones that I've done a huge amount on the sim, to be honest, but it's ones that I've always loved watching racing around there. So I'm quite excited for those.
And quickly tell us how your weekend went as well in the real world.
Yeah, it was a great weekend. So it was my first time running a new car, a Clio Cup car. I'd only had a couple hours running in it prior to the event, and I managed to come away with 2 podiums in Superlap Scotland and 4 podiums in the Mod Sports Championship, including a win. So it was a great first event in the car, and I think there's potential for it to go faster as I get more seat time and we improve the setup as well.
Yeah, great stuff. It's good to watch. Beautiful little Renault Clio as well, and the best of luck moving forward with that as well. And we'll look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks at Interlagos.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, no problem. That's Josh Heslop, and we should say that meeting that he was at was marshalled so very well by all the SMRC volunteer marshals, and we thank them very much. Edward Porter was mentioning the marshals earlier on, so there's another shout out for them. So we're Hungaroring 22nd, that's where we are tonight. Next round, round 4, Interlagos, October the 6th. There's the correct date. I've said about 3 different dates tonight, so it's going to be October the 6th. Myself, Duncan, Vincent, and Andy Allison. Well, we fly out first class on the Monday, so we can't wait to be there for the Wednesday night. Join us on the SMRC channel here with Sim Broadcast and Reese Motorsport Insurance. Until next time, guys, this is the Hungaroring saying off. Duncan and Andy, till next time.